In this video, me and my good friend James sit down to talk about WandaVision. We speak about our thoughts on the show as a whole, as well as our reactions to the amazing finale. So grab your popcorn, sit back, and enjoy the video. Right, so yeah, as I said in the intro, we are talking about WandaVision today, and the finale aired this morning, so sort of fresh in our minds. I never know what camera to look at when I'm doing these sort of things, so I'm sort of looking at you down there and then the webcam up there, but we move. So let's start with thoughts on the series as a whole. So what did it live up to your expectations?
Yes and no.
Okay, why no?
I think this is very much, this is quite linked into the finale. I
Okay.
think the internet has ruined the show.
I completely agree. I
could sound like the old man in the room by saying that. But everyone was going, Mephisto,
yes.
White Vision is Ultron, and it's and like you were trying to make a buying video out of it. Like I get that, but it kind of felt like, and I kind of did expect that going in this morning because the show creator, I think, literally had to come out and say, pretty much, "Oi, you're theorizing too much. Your expectations are so high that you're not going to be happy."
No, I agree. And it is the case of whatever everyone said. Obviously, not all of those things could happen. You wouldn't have had... even if, say, Mephisto had have shown up, you never would have had Mephisto, Ultron, Magneto, the X-Men show up. You never would have had all of that in one episode. So I think whatever happened, it would have... We wouldn't have gone, oh, yeah, that met our expectations. But that isn't to say that it wasn't a good finale, because I think it was an amazing finale.
I think Paul Bettany didn't help by literally said, "Oh, big cameo! It's him.
It's himself."
The big cameo is Paul Bettany. I love him, but
I'm fumed about this because I said I didn't put it in one of my videos. I've done 2 videos on WandaVision theories, but I didn't say it in a video. But I said it to my brother. I said, "Can you imagine if the cameo is just Paul Bettany?" I was like, "Can you imagine if the cameo is like himself and he's wanted to work with himself for ages?" And I was like, "But how stupid would that be?" But no, it actually was Paul Bettany.
Genuinely, if the question is, from what was promised, did we get what was promised? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we were promised half sitcom, half mystery MCU thing. We got it. I think it was kind of promised as like major MCU thing, and you can clearly tell it isn't quite like it's. Yes, it's a step up from, say, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. or the Netflix shows, but this isn't fully full MCU, which I think this show can get away with.
Yeah, I think you can see that. Yeah, it is different from old MCU shows, but you can see that it's going to have a bigger impact than Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., things like that. And you can tell sort of when you got Falcon and Winter Soldier, you got Loki, all those new series coming out, they are going to have an impact on it. Because WandaVision did, and did you see both of the post-credit scenes of...
Yes.
Yeah.
And that second post-credit scene was very... I thought that was going to be Doctor Strange, and it kind of sets it up, and it isn't Doctor Strange in it.
So the first post-credits, the sort of mid-credit scene with the Skrull, first of all, I was like, okay, the fact that the Skrulls are still sort of in the MCU and still causing trouble, it is amazing. And then the last post-credit scene with Wanda reading the book, it sets up Doctor Strange 2, but we all thought that setting that film up would mean Doctor Strange showed up. But I'm kind of glad he didn't, in a way.
I'm not really sure where it's going, because it was kind of promised to us that the multiverse arc is WandaVision, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange, and because we discovered little bits about Evan Peters in the final episode, but I feel like if the Evan Peters thing peters out to nothing, if it peters out to nothing and he never shows up again, well done, you trolled us. But also, apart from the fact that Wanda is in it, that isn't part of the multiverse, like the multiverse arc to me.
No, that whole Evan Peters is so confusing, because when we first saw him at the end of one of the episodes, we thought, okay, this is the multiverse opening up. But then when he was behind Monica, it was like, right, so he's being controlled by Agatha. He was created by Agatha, and we still don't know still don't fully know what's going on with him. And
the episode implies that he is a real person who is then controlled and brought into the scenario by Agatha, but has no relationship to Quicksilver. I mean, how did Agatha give him his powers? Is a big question, because he still has powers.
Yeah, because we saw him stopping sort of Monica from leaving, things like that, and that was sort of while Agatha was off dealing with WandaVision. WandaVision? Just why did I say WandaVision? Just Wanda. And I want to talk about sort of Agatha and Agnes as a whole, because that plot twist, it was one of those things where, as the episodes went on, you thought, Agnes is not like completely who she's saying, like something up with Agnes. But I don't think when she was revealed as Agatha Harkness, I still didn't really go, I don't see how big that can get. And then also in the finale when she was strangling the twins, and I was like, okay, this is quite a big deal then.
I mean, you can clearly see like the bill. I mean, I think most people knew she was going to be nefarious. I mean, like Agatha Harkness from the comics. I mean, I think in episode 4 they have like they know all the identities of the people, but they can't identify Agatha.
Yeah,
like that was pretty obvious. I mean, it was handled quite well. I mean, I think the reveal in episode 7. I think the song helped smooth things over
quite a lot. I love that song
because the song was amazing. I think it's really tough in hindsight, because you feel like that was such a predictable reveal. You kind of expected there to be someone behind the scenes.
Yeah,
and the fact that there wasn't it is quite hard to judge this show, because, like the creator said, you expect things that didn't happen.
Yeah, and I think it's also difficult because it's almost it's starting off the new phase, so it's not going to be the most sort of thrill-filled thing, because it's got to set everything up for the new phase of the MCU. And I think coming off of like Endgame, where it was a massive epic, all the Avengers together, and then going into WandaVision, it's like you'd had so much amazing MCU crossover stuff that you then went into WandaVision thinking, okay, this is what the MCU is now, when actually you've got to sort of take away what happened in like phase 3 with Endgame and just sort of look at this as a new part.
I mean, there are certain things here that I think the TV element of it doesn't work as well. Like for me, having watched it one time, the finale, White Vision was pointless.
Yeah, I didn't quite understand what went on there, because
I did like I think I feel quite the similar about the Agatha Harkness Wanda fight and the two Visions fight, in that due to the Disney Plus budget, I don't think any of the actual fighting was particularly interesting.
No,
I don't think they did much creative with it. But then the end resolution with Wanda and Agatha, the runes thing, all of the just the switcheroo of it all, that was fun. I think the Vision conversation was quite interesting. I just think either they needed to give a bit more budget about those action scenes, or just not bother.
Yeah, and I feel another problem with both of those fights was the people fighting each other. So White Vision and Vision, and then Agatha and Wanda, had their powers were so similar that the fight didn't really go anywhere. Like Vision would punch White Vision, and White Vision would disappear, so his hand would be stuck in his head. It's like, yeah, but then Vision just do the same back. And it's the same with Agatha and Wanda. It's like, you've both got pretty much the same powers, so this fight isn't really going anywhere. And it just sort of felt a bit...
I mean, it's the same problem that, for example, Iron Man had with them. The third act is Iron Man versus Iron Man. Iron Man 2. Black Panther is literally the ending is, oh, it's Black Panther versus
Yeah.
Black Panther. Like that is like, it's weird that the villain problem itself is going away.
Yeah.
But still in some more modern films, we do keep seeing a recurring thing where, oh, it's the villain, but slightly different.
Yeah.
It's
and
like
it's getting boring.
I'm bored of it.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, we get it. It's like the hero, but it's slightly different, and it's a villain. That's exciting. It's like, no, it's not. Like when they did it the first time, it's like, wow, yeah, this is like when Rhodey fights Tony. It's like, wow, okay, this is cool because they're both trying to kill each other, but they've got the same set of powers. That's original. And then they kept going. It's like, okay, I understand what's going on here, but can we leave it? And that's where I think the older like comics are gonna hopefully come into play in this phase, like with Spider-Man 3. Whoever the villain of that is, I know we've got it. I think the villains are confirmed, right? Like Dr. Octopus and the sort of Sinister Six are heavily rumored, if not confirmed, for Spider-Man 3.
Yeah, I think it's confirmed there. Because I think they're pretty much using the multiverse to fast track the Sinister Six. So I mean, I think Electro from Amazing Spider-Man 2 is showing up for some reason or another. Doc Ock.
Yeah.
I think Green Goblin from the first.
Yes.
I
like Green Goblin.
I can't remember the actor name, but I can think of the face and his big eyes.
Wow, amazing. But yeah, because those fight scenes will be interesting because they don't have the same sets of powers. Like you don't see Electro flying around slinging webs because that's not his powers. So him, and same with like one of my personal favorite villains of all time is Doc Ock. I love Doc Ock. Brilliant. So him in a fight scene is brilliant because yeah, when he fights Spidey, they don't have anywhere near the same powers. So it's interesting to watch. So I think if they stick to that sort of fight scenes, we might be in luck, which they didn't do in WandaVision, which is a bit of a shame.
And there are ways to do the similar powers right. Like, for example, I think the best example is Doctor Strange. Yes, the villain he is facing is it's a wizard, but you can do that interesting where you've got the reversing time gimmick. You've got a lot of like the cool things they've done with that. That film was very well realized. Where yes, hero and villain have similar powers, but they're used very differently and in an interesting way.
Something else that I wanted to talk about with WandaVision was more of the like mystery part, so the FBI sword and all of that sort of stuff. So that I liked that part of I probably preferred that more than the sitcom. I mean, not that I didn't like the sitcom bit, I thought was amazing, but the whole sword mystery, more MCU side, I think works better because that's what the MCU is. And I think the return of sort of Jimmy Woo and Darcy, was that to you? Was that like, yeah, that was needed and it worked? Because I know I've heard a lot of people saying there wasn't any need for that. You could have made new characters.
Yes and no. Again,
okay.
It's tough because I think they're brilliant characters. I mean, I think Darcy here is much more likable than she has been in any other than either of the two Thor films. And I found Jimmy Woo really fun in the second Ant-Man. I found a really fun hit. I mean, if they announce a Disney Plus spin-off show for Jimmy Woo, I will watch it.
We need it.
And I mean, slight sidetrack, that is probably one of the shows that would do better on a Disney Plus budget because you can probably actually make that and make it fully and not have restrictions.
Big fight scenes and powers. You just need Jimmy Woo solving mysteries. That's all you need. The Woo files. That's what we need. Greenlight that project, Marvel.
That, like, for example, Darcy herself. I mean, she doesn't really have like you feel like watching the series, she used to be an intern and now she can do everything the plot needs her to do. And then she literally, I swear, she shows up at the end, rams Hayward, and that's all we see of her in that episode.
Yeah, it's a bit
Like,
strange that she's been quite a big part of the series since she came in with Wu and Monica. And for her, the only thing she does in the finale to come in and basically just get Hayward trapped so he can get arrested. It's it when Wu's there like calling back up in the post-credit scene. He comes in and sort of clears up the mess. It's like and Monica obviously fights. It's like, come on, there's stuff you could have done here.
but I think Jimmy Woo is not only a fun character played by a charismatic actor who also has some funny jokes, quite a few during the series revolving the magic tricks
that
he wanted to learn from Paul Rudd's character. And I think that was quite, that not only linked to the Jimmy we saw, but also he was a fun character.
Yeah.
Darcy, maybe there's an argument for that, but also I do like that, especially without the MCU characters, if it's literally, it's on TV and therefore it's WandaVision and that's all we know from the MCU. Like, no, there's this character that we know at least, and this character at least. Like, it being a TV show, it needs to feel more like it fits in, and having those characters,
it helps,
even though they're loose connections, it's important to connect it to the wider.
Yeah, so when there was an episode, I think it must have been third or fourth episode, where it was pretty much purely based on there was no sitcom stuff. So when you had Darcy and Jimmy Woo in that, you could see, okay, so even though we have we're not in WandaVision at the moment, as in the TV show, we are still in the MCU because we have Jimmy and Darcy. We link that, okay, so that we're still in some sort of familiar setting. So with Monica, obviously Monica now has powers, photon. What is your, like, because I think that's brilliant, and I obviously it's Captain Marvel 2 and things like that. Are you, because obviously we all knew that was coming, because in the comics we know she has powers, so it was a matter of sort of when and how. But what I don't understand, and this might just be me being stupid, so do correct me if I'm wrong here, but when she got her powers by going into the hex too much, is that what happened, or is it her powers were amplified? How did that work?
I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, with the MCU, I kind of do like, because I feel like, if, for example, there was a theory that the people inside the hex are going to become the X-Men.
Yeah.
I now don't think that's the case, just because they just didn't focus on them enough. They just let them run away. Maybe that's how it starts, but I'd be very surprised if that's how the X-Men come into the MCU.
I mean, I would have liked to see Norm as Wolverine. Norm would have made an amazing Wolverine, to be honest. I'm a bit fumed at that. And then that guy with the mustache, he could have been in there somewhere.
Herb as Beast.
Herb as Beast. Look, we've already done it. That would be so good.
But I feel like a lot of times we do just, we just say it's the MCUing, and we do kind of let it. I mean, I personally think it's reasonable enough to understand. You go in once, it kind of mutates your DNA a little bit. You come out, your DNA has changed slightly.
You go back.
You then force yourself in. Yeah. Your DNA has already changed. This time you're actively going in yourself, so you're going through that barrier for a lot longer. I mean, especially as from the time that what Monica is put in and thrown out, and then the border is strengthened, and then she goes in. So I think it's one of those where you probably can let the MCU get away with MCUing.
Yeah, because it's not, that's not what you focus on at the time. You're thinking, okay, Monica's getting powers. That's pretty cool. We know this is going to lead into another film. So we talked about sort of Paul Bettany's. Oh, there's a cameo in it, and it's actually me, which I'm still fumed about. If I ever meet that man, I'm gonna be fumed at him. I will actually shout at that man.
Not just that, the Luke Skywalker cameo.
Even Elizabeth Olsen was in it. Oh, honestly, I'm fumed. The fact they compared it to Luke Skywalker as well.
But they caused the problem for themselves, because at the end of the day, like, I earlier on did say, "Oh, the internet theorizing." Like, no, like, Paul, like if I'm watching episode 9, thinking they're like the first time I watched episode 9, I was like, where's Doctor Strange? Where's this big? I was watching the first end credit scene, thinking Nick Fury. Like,
yes, yeah.
Like, well, it's like we put it up to what the fans did in theorizing, but they didn't help themselves. They didn't.
And I agree with the first post-credit scene when we saw the Skrull and she pointed up. I thought the camera was going to like pan up, and then like in the rigs up above the stage was going to be, like you said, like Nick Fury or someone like that, or maybe even Talos was there. Like there was going to be some sort of. But no, yeah, it was they've shot themselves in the foot, because there's going to be so many complaints. I've already looked on Twitter, and there's so many complaints all over Twitter of people saying, "I can't believe this was the cameo." Sort of disappointed, let down. They've really shot themselves in the foot there. They probably shouldn't have done that one.
Couple of things about that the Monica end credit scene.
Yes.
First of all, do you reckon that is Talos's kid? Because I think it is.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah. No.
Because I reckon Talos's kid is going to be, because if Monica's grown up, and also Monica as a young girl and the kid that like the Skrull kid kind of like made friends. I reckon that's.
Yeah. No, I reckon he might be. Yeah. So in that case, could it be that there were things in this series that are massive for the MCU that we just don't understand yet?
Mm-hmm.
So if in Captain Marvel that character there is revealed to be Talos's kid, we'll then be like, oh my god, they were in WandaVision, but we didn't really go, we didn't give it the sort of recognition it deserved.
It could be. That's my theory. Shout. Is that kid is I think that kid is probably.
That's a good shout.
I mean, my thing is mainly because I don't think I think this is thrown off by I don't know if the release date for the Nick Fury Secret Invasion show has been released.
Okay.
Because I know Captain Marvel 2 has a date. I think it's in 2022 sometime. I don't know when the Nick Fury show is coming.
Right.
I mean, I personally think that there are 2 ways that it goes.
Mm-hmm.
Secret Invasion lasts 3 films as a storyline. I reckon like WandaVision, I reckon it starts with the show. I reckon Captain Marvel 2 deals with it, and I think they have an Avengers film dealing with it.
Okay.
Or what they'll do is Captain Marvel 2 is separate. Secret Invasion will happen, and then maybe there will be, and then maybe I think for Secret Invasion to be an Avengers film, I think Captain Marvel film probably has to be in there. So because I don't think they can do a series straight into an Avengers film.
Yeah,
but I feel like, and what confuses it is Monica, because that end credit scene sets up Monica to be involved with Secret Invasion because she's pointing up to the spaceship with Nick Fury.
Yes.
As I see it. But
that's what I understood from that.
But we know Monica's in Captain Marvel 2.
Yeah. It's very it's just unknown at the moment. We have it's all sort of over the place. And obviously at the moment it is just shows and films without release dates that we're trying to piece together. So it's very strange.
It's possible.
Yeah, you said about the another Avengers film there. So as soon as we saw Wanda and Vision's kids, we thought, they're going to be in the new Avengers. But obviously that can't happen now, because as far as we're aware, they're gone. So what is, because at least I think other people did, when you saw them, you think, right, Young Avengers, you've got, I can never remember their names. One of them's called Speed.
In our last podcast,
yes,
we talked about them setting up Young Avengers, because I mean, we'll go over the roster quickly. There's the new younger Hawkeye. We've got Cassie Lang that's been aged up.
Mm-hmm.
There's other people.
Yeah,
that I can't think of.
I can't think who it is.
Ironheart has a show. Miss Marvel's probably young enough.
Miss Marvel could probably be in it.
I mean, I think they're coming back. Though those characters are very big in the comics.
Yes.
You can clearly see that Young Avengers is being built towards with these characters, and we hear the kids screaming at the end of the second post-credit scene. I'm saying it now. The kids are coming back at some point or another, whether it's a Disney Plus show or a film. The Young Avengers is happening.
But this is what's confusing, because we heard them sort of screaming for help at the end of the very end of the episode, and so I'm like, right, so they only were created because of the hex, so they can't live without the hex, but now they're screaming. So does that mean, like, is that the same for Vision? Is Vision now somewhere? Like, what? It's very.
I mean, they heavily hint that Vision is coming back.
Yeah. Well, my thought was, if you've got Vision, the one that we knew in WandaVision, that's sort of like got the memories and the consciousness of Vision, and then you've got Silver Vision, which is the physical body of Vision. If those two things come together, then you've got Vision there, because you've got the vessel and you've got the memories. Because he was going on about, I'll be a memory. So you've got the memory and you've got the vessel. You can make a Vision out of that.
I mean, there are rumors that Vision is one way or another in Doctor Strange 2.
Right. Okay.
Big and that was mainly caused by, I think it was because Elizabeth Olsen was doing an interview while filming Doctor Strange and saying that something about Paul making her laugh or something.
Oh,
it was in a very like present tense thing.
Right. So whether he comes back as not as Jarvis, but in that sort of form. So maybe Vision doesn't return, but maybe Paul Bettany's voice returns as some sort of
maybe it's
AI
his voice.
thing.
I mean, bearing in mind you're dealing with the multiverse, so if Doc Ock and that sort of thing, and Tobey Maguire can come back, like literally another Vision can come back.
And that, I still don't understand where White Vision went, because the last thing we saw, he just flew up.
That could be a setup. I mean, I still think that was all a bit odd. Like Hayward somehow managed to go, ooh, energy, ooh, Vision. Like I think that needed another draft in the script stage. Like,
it was very.
There was something wrong there.
It went, it all happened so quickly. If we saw Wanda was trying to steal the body, it went from, she didn't steal the body, she took like memories, or she tried to read the mind of the body, and now look, we have Vision. It's like, hang on, how did that happen? Like, that
I quite liked, because that was clearly building like Hayward up as like, so Hayward starts out as an alright guy, we slowly see him evil, then it proved that he lied about Wanda stealing the body using like security cam footage to lie.
Yeah, like, that bit I get. It's more that they don't explain enough of how that happened. How he was like, this drone went in to try and kill Wanda, she hit it, that means we've got power, that means we can literally reassemble and reanimate the dead corpse of Vision. To me, that was like, okay. It's almost like when, like, it's the classic thing of when you've got like 5 minutes left in an exam, and they're like, okay, we need to somehow get White Vision into this. How do we do it? They had a drone earlier that powered it, and you're like, okay, whatever you say, whatever you say.
There were definitely some. I think overall the overarching storyline of the show works, but I think there are clear points where structurally in the story there are flaws, and I think I can think of two big examples.
Go on.
I think the main example is both episode 4 and episode 8, and the fact that they both kind of not 100%, but mostly stop the story 100% to do flashbacks.
Yeah,
and how that kind of does. You kind of lose forward momentum within those episodes quite a bit. And then the other kind of structural flaw for me, even though some would say this is quite picky, is for me, Vision in episode 7
Okay.
is literally like the Hex has brought him back together, and
Yeah.
then all he does is literally find Darcy, have a conversation, and fly off. Like there are clear structural points where it's like, okay, we've got an arc for Vision from 1 to 6. Now we need him in the finale. He doesn't have to show up in episode 8 because it's a flashback.
Yeah.
But we need something. We need something for him to do in episode 7.
Yeah.
And it's like that. As I said, the overarching story works. I think there are little points that needed ironing out.
I agree. It felt it's obviously it's difficult because this is sort of Marvel's first big budget TV show, so there are obviously going to be flaws with it. And I think another thing they probably didn't do well, and I think they changed the release order of their shows around, because I think originally Falcon and Winter Soldier was coming out first.
Yes.
And I think that would have been better, because I think now that we've had the mystery and everything about WandaVision, we're going to go into Falcon and the Winter Soldier in 2 weeks, and it's going to be classic MCU sort of fight scenes and things like that. And I think a lot of people will go, oh, this isn't obviously it's not the level of WandaVision because it's not the same thing. But I think there'll be a lot of people that go, this hasn't got the same every week. I'm wanting to know what happens.
I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier, it's odd because it's going back to the whole idea of like translating things from films to TV, but making them still feel like movie quality.
Yeah.
And I think the way Falcon and the Winter Soldier will grip people, and we should probably, I would genuinely be up for doing like a whole video about about Falcon and the Winter Soldier. What should we expect? That sort of thing. But I think
that's not a bad idea, actually.
It's one of those things where Falcon and the Winter Soldier, because it doesn't have the sitcom elements that maybe brought the budget down, that made us kind of forgive it not quite being fully MCU. Falcon and Winter Soldier doesn't have that. It's 6 50-minute episodes, and it has to deliver week on week. And the way it will deliver is by being pretty much full MCU.
Yeah. Well,
because it doesn't have the excuse of the sitcoms. It doesn't have that.
Because WandaVision could break up the classic MCU style with the sitcoms, and you'd be like, it would be Hayward trying to track Vision down 1 minute, the next minute it would be a black and white sitcom, and that broke it up. But I think Falcon and the Winter Soldier would be much more intense, intense action all the way through. And I think it will be the thing of, it is a film that you're watching in 6 parts, and I don't think I'm going to like that, to be honest, because WandaVision felt less like a film. WandaVision didn't feel like a film. Like, if you watch all those episodes back to back, I don't think it would be like a film. But I think if you sat and watched every Falcon and the Winter Soldier episode back to back, once they're all out, I think that would feel like a film.
It's one of those things where I feel like it is very easy for a superhero TV show to still feel like very high quality whilst not necessarily having the budget. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it. My best example is The Boys.
I haven't seen it.
It's a brilliant show on Amazon Prime.
Okay.
And while it doesn't necessarily have like the film budget, it still manages to create some exciting action, some like very well done action. But because it's a TV show, what you really want it to do is delve deeper into the characters, have those more interesting conversations, like not have plot holes, because you've got the time to explain things through. And I think it's one of those things where Falcon the Winter Soldier has that benefit where it can explain things through, but because it's connected to the MCU, it's got to have that a bit more budget behind it, a little bit more quality. But I think it can be good, and I think overall, I think now we know with the Disney Plus experience, we need to theorize less.
Yes,
because with a film, you can theorize on the trailers and you
Yeah.
see the end result. With a TV show, we're theorizing week after week after week. And that means that we are theorizing so quickly and from point A to point G, we've got 8 weeks to theorize, and that just isn't healthy.
I think the problem is Marvel knew that. Marvel knew this show is going to get a lot of theories made about it, so they purposely dropped so many red herrings throughout it. I thought, if we drop all these things, they're going to think this, and it's like they can't do that as much in a film, because obviously they've got like 2 hours, hour and a half of content, whereas obviously a series you have like, what was it, like 30-40 minute episodes for WandaVision
on average,
over 9 episodes. So yeah, I think Marvel definitely knew that, and it's difficult. It's one of those things where people shouldn't have theorized as much, but a lot of theories were somewhat like did actually come to light, and I think that there was a theory about two Wandas, which originally it was the Super Carlin brothers, and they I can't remember exactly what their theory was, because it was quite, I think it must have been like 1-2 weeks ago, but I think
that's what I did watch, actually.
That theory somewhat has legs, but it's not changing the entire course of the MCU like most series were trying to do. It was say, look, we've looked at this episode, and maybe this is, and I don't think they're like off, because we saw Wanda in the last post-credit scene in her little hut in the middle of somewhere, and then it zoomed round to the back, and she was floating in her Scarlet Witch costume reading the book. So it's I think it's going to be interesting to see where they take it.
100%.
And
I think
go on.
It's for the series overall. I think every episode worked better on the rewatch.
I haven't actually rewatched any of them.
Have you only watched them once?
I have, but I think I will go through and watch them all again within, like, not waiting a week in between, like do a marathon of them.
I mean, for example, something like episode 7 for me. So you've got Wanda just after the Halloween to the end where Agatha turns up. First time I watched that, I go, for God's sake, that was 40 minutes where literally nothing happens till the ending. That was such a filler episode. And then I think when you know what to expect with that form of mystery show, when you then watch them again, it very much feels like you're more, when you know what you're expecting, you can enjoy the ride a lot more. Like in like a week or two, I'm looking forward to watching the finale and just enjoying the ride instead of going, like, literally, like, I remember this morning Agatha's defeated, and I'm thinking, okay, there's about 18 minutes left. That's probably about 6 minutes credits. There's about 12 minutes left of content. Like, when's Doctor Strange gonna show up? What's gonna happen? What's the big reveal? And it's like, and enjoying those scenes without expecting the things you expect does end up being a lot more enjoyable than the first time around.
No, I think you've got a point there. I will go through and I watch them all sort of, because I think waiting a week also didn't help. I think watching the previous episode before the new one probably was a better way to do it. And in hindsight, I probably wish I had done that. But yeah, I will go through and watch them all in order within, like, maybe one a day, just so it's every day as opposed to every week. And you know what? Might even make a video on it, because if you're going to make a WandaVision video, make it now before Falcon and the Winter Soldier comes out. That's not the reason we're making these videos at all. No. Speaking of that, you do have a video out on your channel, James.
I do. So I have ranked all of the episodes. I mean, I don't think I've spoiled my ranking too much, but no. I think I would like to say my ranking won't be like, I was surprised when making it that my episode that there isn't like a 1 is the lowest, 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, and it's just like it for me. While watching it, the show was getting better and better. Actually, when thinking about it, there is actually a lot of discrepancy where some of the later ones are to the beginning of the rankings and the earlier ones can be spread through. So, because it's a banging video.
Yeah, so it'll obviously be linked in the card and in the description. James's channel will be there. Obviously, definitely go check James out for amazing content. Not good content, not great content. Amazing content.
You gotta love it.
Is there anything else you wanted to sort of say on WandaVision, or are we getting somewhere near?
I also think, as a last point, WandaVision does depend. I think WandaVision will be interesting to revisit at the end of Doctor Strange when we've seen Spider-Man and we've seen if WandaVision has any link to that. Which, after watching it, I don't think it will actually have any link to Spider-Man, really.
Oh, no, it won't Spider-Man at all, I don't think.
I mean, I personally think it more acts like a V, where you've got, like, WandaVision, Spider-Man feeding into Doctor Strange.
They both feed into Doctor Strange, I agree.
Because we know Doctor Strange appears in Spider-Man, we know that Wanda appears in Doctor Strange.
Yeah, so they're all linked. It's basically like WandaVision and Spider-Man are both linked through Doctor Strange.
It's not going to be necessarily the WandaVision, Spider-Man, Doctor Strange story that we were kind of promised.
Yeah, it's going to be like they all deal with the same theme of like multiverse and time being reality being messed up, but they're not going to intertwine on like an Avengers crossover style sort of thing, which isn't a problem. It's not a problem. It's new. Yeah, it's new stuff. Yeah, so as I said before, go check James out and go. I haven't even watched your video. Where's your video? Should be out when this one's out.
We are going to hopefully put them out at the exact same time. So
look at that.
So if you're on mine, you hopefully hop to this one. If you're on this one, you'll hop to mine.
Cross promotion, gotta love it. And you know what? I wasn't going to say this, but look at those guns. What a legend. I wasn't going to say this, but there might be a second video from me today. I know. 2 videos in one day.
What will it be?
I don't know if I can reveal that yet, just in case it doesn't happen. But it's going to be a different style of video for me.
I mean, I was half tempted to review episode 9 and then rank the episode, but I was kind of like, everyone's going to do that, so I might as well just get my ranking up.
Yeah. So if it does go up and I do record it, it's going to be a very different video for my channel. But I'm excited to. There's a chance I'll record it, edit it, and go, that's a bit crap, and not upload it.
I'm excited to see it, and I will be pestering you if you don't upload it.
Amazing. Well, thank you for watching. Obviously, like if you enjoyed it, dislike it if you didn't. That's really rude if you didn't, and I'd like to reevaluate your life if you didn't enjoy it. Subscribe if you're new. Subscribe.
You might not swear in warning.
Goodness sake. Subscribe to James, and I might see you later today. If I don't, I don't. My mouse isn't working.